Hey folks, Professor K here, and we're going to take 5-ish minutes to take a look at artboards, layers, grouping, and generally organizing your document in Illustrator. Let's get started. All right, so over here in Illustrator, I'm going to open up my Lyrical Layouts document just as an example of how you can use artboards and layers and groups to help organize your documents in Illustrator. What's really great about artboards is that it makes it really easy to do multiple tries of the same project and see what you like best without separating them into different files. So in this example, I'm going to be doing a version of my poem here that's more about the meaning of the poem than it is about readability and legibility, which means I'm going to go crazy with it. But instead of making a whole separate file, I think it'd be really cool if I could see this at the same time, so I could see if there's any way if I can make a connection between them. So to create artboards, what you will do is you will go to Document Setup right up here. You can also find it in the Properties panel to your right under Document Setup and Quick Actions. And what you're going to do once you get into Document Setup is just hit Edit Artboards. That will take you to this Edit Artboards view. You'll notice that your cursor has changed. It's got kind of like this little croppy looking thing going on. And now you can see that there is a blue edge around your entire artboard. And you've even got a little name for your artboard, Artboard 1. The easiest way to copy and paste something in Illustrator, or frankly in any Adobe program, is to hold down your Option key and then click and drag. I'm going to go hold Option. And notice how when I get over to my artboard name, when I hover over it, I get that cursor with the black arrow and then sort of a ghost arrow behind it. That's going to be your duplicate cursor. Go ahead and while holding Option, click and drag. You can even hold Shift if you want to keep it in line. And now you will have a copy of your artboard right here. Perfect, right? At this point, you might want to check out Artboard Options. Under Artboard Options, you can rename it. So I can put this as Layout 2, and that will really make it easier for me to understand, as well as when I export things, it'll make it easier for me to keep track of which layout is which, because when you go to export from Illustrator, it picks up the artboard names. So let's just rename these, Layout 1 and Layout 2, hit OK. And now we're ready to start our second layout. A couple of other things for you to notice here. Inside your layers, you also have an artboards panel. So you can always go over to artboards and you can rename them this way by double clicking and just hitting enter to rename. You can also navigate from artboard to artboard by double clicking on the numbers. Here on layout 2, we'll do dash lyrical layouts to make it a little easier. In our layers panel, you'll notice that when we toggle the visibility of a layer, wow, that's really interesting. That's a bit buggy. Oh, it's because everything's on the same layer. You know, I would have thought that these would be by artboards. So now would be a really great time to create some groups and maybe some different layers, because right now I'm seeing that both of these are shared between artboards, and I don't like that. So let's get together and just group the things that are in our second artboard into one group. Let's start by clicking and dragging around the second artboard to select everything on that artboard only. That's a really great way to select things in Adobe programs, is just click and drag around them, especially Illustrator. From there, we're going to use the grouping shortcut, Command G. And as you can see, in our layers panel, that has now created a group. Let's double click to rename this, and let's call this Artboard 2 items. Let's now do the same thing with Artboard 1 so that we can keep track of which is which. Click and drag around Artboard 1, Command G to group. Let's do Artboard 1 items. Now this is great, but I really want this to be nice and clean. I'd rather have my Artboard 2 items on a totally separate layer. So inside of layers, you can have groups just like you see here. In Illustrator, by default, it will kind of keep things all in the same layer unless you actually tell it to put it somewhere else. This is unlike other Adobe programs like Photoshop, where everything you do basically creates a layer. So let's drag our Artboard 2 items up into layer 2. And remember that we got layer 2 by clicking this Create New Layer button at the bottom. And now we can see that we have these in separate spaces, and we know how to group things, rename them in layers, and create separate artboards so that we can keep everything organized. So I hope that helps you out, especially with keeping things organized. Up next, I'm going to show you how I am tackling the second part of the Lyrical Layouts project for this class. I'll see you in just a moment.